Tonight on the Electric Playground, we talk to one of Hollywood's top female directors, Hardwicke.
Today I'll have all the latest on downloadable and handheld adventures that you could get into in the sonar.
Harry Potter gets blocky in his final Lego adventure. And the magic doesn't end there as we cast a spell with an explosive Blu-ray finale. Welcome to the Electric Playground. We're the show that brings you the latest and everything cool every single day. My name is Victor Lucas, and we have plenty of frightening things in today's rundown. Let's get started. Google is one step closer in its quest for total world domination. The tech giant has launched the beta for Google Music. It's a new digital music store designed to rival iTunes and works on computers and Android-powered mobile gadgets. Users can store all their songs in a cloud and stream them to any device. They can also share their songs with friends on the Google Plus social network, but only once for each track. More than 13 million songs are available, with more expected to follow. Google Music is online now in the U.S. and will soon hit the stage in additional countries. It looks like a sequel to next year's movie, The Hunger Games, is already in the works. The new film about teenagers forced into deadly combat won't hit theaters until March 2012. Deadline reports that the producers are already developing a sequel, which will be based on the second Hunger Games novel, Catching Fire. The screenplay is being penned by Slumdog Millionaire's Oscar-winning writer, Simon Beaufoy. A release date for the sequel has not been revealed.
3, 2, 1.
The writer behind Heroes is bringing the Munsters back to television. NBC has greenlit a pilot episode for a remake of the classic black and white comedy series. The Munsters originally aired in the 1960s and follows the exploits of a lovable family of monsters.
And that's not all.
The new take on the show will be produced by Heroes writer and Pushing Daisy's creator, Brian Fuller. The pilot episode is expected to be finished next year, and we'll let you know if it gets picked up for a full season.
I'm sure we'll be a smash.
Controversial host Ricky Gervais is taking on the Golden Globes yet again. The Office creator and star of movies like Ghost Town and The Invention of Lying will host the annual awards ceremony for a third time.
I didn't know that. Yeah, a lot of people know it.
Gervais caused some controversy at the show earlier this year for using what some called over-the-top humor, and he promises to take things even further this time around. The 69th annual Golden Globes will take place on January 15th, 2012. A classic cartoon character is pecking away at his first full-length feature film. According to The Hollywood Reporter, a big-screen Woody Woodpecker movie is in the works. The beloved character has appeared in countless cartoons, but this will be his first feature film. It's being created by Illumination Entertainment, the same animation studio behind Despicable Me. There's no word if the project will use traditional or digital animation. We'll let you know when more Woody Woodpecker details arrive. Illumination Entertainment is currently working on the trippy Dr. Seuss tale, The Lorax, which will drop in March 2012. Hollywood icon Steven Spielberg has something biblical in the works. Twitch Film reports that Spielberg is in talks to produce and possibly direct a movie about Moses. The religious figure has appeared in many different films, most famously in the 1956 Charlton Heston epic, The Ten Commandments. Moses, his Ten Commandments, and Ark of the Covenant also served as the basis for Spielberg's Raiders of the Lost Ark, but don't expect to see any melting Nazis in the new film. Spielberg's latest, The Adventures of Tintin, will hit cinemas in North America and Australia on December 21st. His other new film, the World War I drama War Horse, gallops into theaters a few days later on December 25th. iPhone and iPad users could finally touch the open-world building game Minecraft. The new Minecraft Pocket Edition is now available on iOS devices. It's a mobile version of the popular PC game where players roam an open world and build whatever they want. The iOS version only supports multiplayer on local wireless networks, so you won't be able to play with people on the other side of the planet. Minecraft is also available on Android-powered devices, and an Xbox 360 version is in development. In related news, the first official Minecraft convention, known as Minecon, has kicked off in Las Vegas. Some new announcements about the game are expected to be made, so we'll keep you up to date with all the goods as they develop. Up next, action awaits as we enter the Octagon and cast a spell on Blu-ray. Welcome back to the Electric Playground. We're not staying here long, though. We're heading down to the wizarding world of Harry Potter at Universal Orlando. Sean was there to get some information about the Blu-ray release of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2.
Harry Potter, the boy who lived, come to die.
Deathly Hallows Part 2 is on DVD and Blu-ray now. What do you think people are going to think of these movies 20 years down the line?
Every now and again there are things that clearly emerge as classics that you know people will always be watching as long as the format exists. And the Harry Potters unquestionably will have their place on people's shelves and mantelpieces for generations to come. And it's a very proud feeling for all of us.
I'll set the bloody place on fire!
When you look back on your experience being part of these Harry Potter films, what are some of the key memories, the warm feelings that you have?
As one of the adults, I turn up every year or every 2 years, and the people who I'd grown very fond of were suddenly 6 inches taller every time. Each time it would take me a few weeks because I'd treat them like they had been 2 years before, and then I'd realize how much more mature they were. They've all become seasoned professionals. At 20 or 21, they spent more time on set in front of a camera on giant movies than most people who spent decades doing it.
What are some of the cool extras that we're getting on the Blu-ray version of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows?
We've got some deleted scenes that are quite fun. Scenes that I really loved in the movie, but rhythmically they bumped a wee bit, so we had to take them out. And we've got a maximum movie mode, which allows you to experience some background and how we made certain scenes work. And there's a wonderful interview. Dan Radcliffe talks to Joe Rowling, and there's a really interesting, intimate conversation between the two of them, which is fascinating.
We put the glasses on and eventually we realised that I was allergic to them. I was actually allergic to the Harry Potter glasses.
Well, it's lucky neither of us believe in signs, isn't it?
Exactly, it really is lucky we don't believe in omens.
David, what was it like for you to put your mark on this epic series, Harry Potter?
It was such a privilege because it's a world that's loved by so many millions of people. And what I was really hoping to do, and what I think I've done, is to grow it up, to take it from a kids' film into a film that could be enjoyed by the whole family, adults as well as kids, to mature it, make it darker, more emotionally intense, a bit scarier, to make it feel real. So that was my ambition for the latter end of the series.
It seems, despite your exhaustive defensive strategies, you still have a bit of a security problem, Headmaster.
Deathly Hallows Part 2 is available now on Blu-ray and DVD, and later in the show we're taking a look at the new Lego Harry Potter game, but right now it's time to find out all about UFC Undisputed 3. Here's Jose.
The game I'm most excited to play next year kicks off early next year. UFC Undisputed 3 is coming. Nevin, tell me about the upgrades you guys have made to UFC 3.
First and foremost, I'm most excited about Pride being in the game. Pride Fighting Championships, for those of you who don't know, a Japanese organization that was bought out by Zuffa. A different rule set, knees to the heads of down opponents, soccer kicks, face stomps, you name it. It was Japanese. It was awesome. I'm really excited we were able to get that in the game. We broke from the annualized cycle. I mean, we've done a ton of upgrades to the game this year. We've added a new alternate control scheme, amateur controls for new users, guys who maybe want to get in the game, have fun, but the complexity of the classic or pro controls is a little too much. We've gone with a graphic-based submission system, a ton of new gameplay improvements, just tuning an engine that was already, very deep and technical, and we've just, added tons of new layers to it, new positions, new submissions, feints, sways on the ground. I mean, you name it. There's a ton of new stuff.
Oh, beautiful combination. He's hurt.
Now, why is adding something like Pride to the UFC game such a big deal to the world of MMA?
A lot of the current UFC stars had some of their most iconic fights in Pride Fighting Championships, and since the first game, we've always wanted to introduce Pride rules. You can fight UFC guys in Pride rules, Pride guys in UFC rules. It's awesome because, it's a game within a game. You have completely different announcers, Stephen Quadros, Boss Rutten. You have a screaming lady, Lenny Hart, screaming out your fighters' names as they walk down. The entrances, we've added entrances this year. Everyone's been like, where's the entrances? Okay, check, we got that. It's going to be great. I can't wait for people to get their hands on it.
And mentioning the rules, you guys also added sort of a competition rule set. Explain a little bit about that.
Well, we did our development a little bit differently this year. We actually started focus testing from the beginning of development, a little bit different than how we've done development previously. And what we found is that people like our game for different reasons, and people play the game for different reasons. There's guys that really want the game to be in a competitive fighting game, a tournament, but things like doctor stoppages and flash knockouts prevented us from being in that company. So adding a competition spec allows us to be on that level. We've added also this equalized stats setting, which basically normalizes everybody's stats. Just, hey, your inputs versus my inputs. We all have the same speed, striking, stamina, etc. And then alternatively, we've added this simulation mode. Our hardcore Undisputed fans really love the simulation mode. It's much more sim style, like real fight. So you have to be more judicious about the energy you expend, the moves that you do. We really wanted to make this game to be played how people want to play it. Have fun playing it the way you want to play it, and we're going to offer that to you.
You can play it how you want to play it, but you're going to have to wait till next year until the game comes out, but we've got more EP for you right after this. Up next, gaming's greatest plumber goes portable again, and Ezio heads to Constantinople in his latest deadly adventure. Welcome back to the Electric Playground. We are the show that's celebrating the release of Assassin's Creed Revelations all week long with our Hot Templar Night series. We're wrapping things up today with a look at the game's locations and environments.
When I first set out from Roma 10 months ago, I did so with a single purpose: to discover what our father did not.
One of the coolest things about the Assassin's Creed series is that we get to go to a far-off land into a distant time. Where are we in Assassin's Creed Revelations?
We are in 1511 in the heart of the Ottoman Empire, so Constantinople, or Constantinia, or Istanbul, as the Turks would say. Ezio's story takes place about 4 years after the events of Brotherhood, so he's had some time to reflect and grow, and he begins the story on a personal quest that takes him back to Masyaf Castle, which is the setting of our first Assassin's Creed, where modern-day Syria is. Few things happen there that sends him north right into the Ottoman Empire, so the majority of the game takes place there in Constantinople and then a region called Cappadocia, where he's no longer among friends, he has to make new ones. So completely new cast of characters. You will not see anybody from the other games, but we have a lot of other amazing people and amazing historical figures as well.
By your custom, I would be Yusuf Kazim da Istanbul.
What's it like looking now in this new setting? What's the architecture going to be like? What buildings are we seeing?
Right when you get off the boat, you'll see a beautiful tower called Galata Tower. And then what you'll start to notice is that Constantinople is like a 7-layer dip. It has remnants from every era. Greeks, Romans, late Roman period we call the Byzantine period, and then a lot of Turkish architecture. So the city is an amalgam of thousands of years of history. And in the poorer district, which we call the Constantine district to the east, for the first time, buildings made just out of wood. So it looks really beautiful. The paint is all faded and scratched off, and it really feels like a completely different area. When you finally actually get to go to Cappadocia, which is a region in the middle of what Turkey is now, it's an underground city based on these almost 200 underground cities that are actually there. We have this beautiful underground cavernous city. It's incredibly gorgeous.
You took your time.
You are welcome.
How do these new buildings and this new architecture change the way Ezio interacts with his environment?
It's the same general principle. We have these buildings that you can climb all over, so lots of handholds. But in terms of layouts, there are a lot more slanted rooftops. The buildings fit together in really chaotic and strange ways. And then the zip lines give you paths across long stretches that you wouldn't get to traverse otherwise. And we've gone out of our way to really make it topographically interesting. So one of the big monuments is the Hagia Sophia Cami church, that and Galata Tower, where if you climb to a rooftop, as long as you can see Hagia Sophia and Galata, you know exactly where you are.
I tell you what, I much prefer to climb. I just look at the big tower, I gotta climb it and light it on fire.
So I thought Sean would be too busy climbing towers and lighting them, but he made some time to give us the latest in handheld and downloadable games in the Sonar.
If you like dinosaurs, you're in for a treat because an adventure that's 65 million years in the making is finally here. We're getting to return to Jurassic Park thanks to the master point-and-click game devs at Telltale Games. Jurassic Park the game is a cinematic adventure set on the infamous island of Isla Nublar. We've seen Jurassic Park games before, but never like this. Set during the events of the first film, the game follows a different set of characters who must also survive the mayhem of the park's catastrophic and early demise. Make your way across the island while doing your best to not end up as dino fodder. Jurassic Park might be the cure for your dino fever, but if you'd rather dig up the fossils, clean them up, and then revive the creatures to make them battle, Fossil Fighters Champions has what you need. Enter a large-scale tournament in which you must compete using creatures called Vivosaurs that you revive from fossilized remains. Organize your combatants into a formidable team and use their unique abilities to your advantage. Vivosaurs can level up and even evolve with the help of gold fossils. And you can take on fossil fighters from around the world using the Nintendo Wi-Fi connection. Dinosaurs are pretty cool, but I happen to prefer ninja battles, and I think the people at Sega do too because they brought their classic ninja franchise, Shinobi, over to the 3DS. Seems like betrayal is something a ninja's gotta put up with, and this time around our hero is betrayed by a good friend and then has to take the fight to an evil clan. This side-scroller features a lot of ranged and melee ninja action as well as some intimidating boss battles. When classic ninja moves are not enough, bring out the ninja magic and teach your enemies a lesson they won't soon forget. For fans of epic RPG action from the good people at Square Enix, the PlayStation 1 classic Chrono Cross, which is the sequel to the Super Nintendo's Chrono Trigger, is now available on PSN. When a young boy named Serge is suddenly teleported from his small fishing village to a parallel universe, his adventure begins. Team up with fellow adventurers to unravel the mystery, evade his pursuers, and take on enemies with the game's dynamic battle system. Like with Chrono Trigger, you can explore a storyline to discover multiple scenarios and enjoy many different endings. And of course, the most iconic of all video game characters has yet another adventure under his belt. Yes, I'm talking about Super Mario, and he's back to crush Goombas and stomp Koopas in Super Mario 3D Land for the 3DS. Explore new worlds with familiar motifs as Mario returns to platforming adventuring, and make use of the 3DS stereoscopic 3D screen to judge depth when jumping from platform to platform. Mario's got some new abilities this time around, as well as one we haven't seen in years, the Tanuki suit, which allows our hero to hover and perform special attacks. That is it for this week's Sonar. It looks like I've got a whole lot of games to play, so I'm going to go get to it, but you should stick around because there's more EP coming up after this.
After the break, a new blocky adventure at Hogwarts and the director of Red Riding Hood. Welcome back to the Electric Playground. Now, we all know there are a ton of great movie directors out there, but unfortunately not as many great female ones as we would like. Let's hope that changes soon. But one of them is Catherine Hardwicke, and Brianna recently caught up with her to talk about her career.
She is one of Hollywood's top female directors, but the success didn't come overnight. Catherine, how did you get started in the film industry?
Well, I was a production designer at first. I designed the sets for like 20 different movies, which was really fun. I work with Richard Linklater. He was a great inspiration. He directed Dazed and Confused and School of Rock, and he's so fun, and I learned a lot of stuff like really how to rehearse, spend time with the actors, how to talk to actors. David O. Russell directed Three Kings. David is great just creating so much energy and excitement in the moment, keeping it really intense. That was fantastic.
And he jumped onto the bridge and into the pool!
You've worked with both adaptations and original materials, so do you enjoy working on both and find them different and creatively challenging in various ways?
I love both. I mean, I love 13. That was something that Nikki and I just kind of fashioned from her life in a way, and that was so exciting because it was really raw and painful and scary. I love that. Twilight was a blast because Stephanie had written this very emotional book that people loved, and then I had the challenge, how do I take those emotions and make it cinematic?
You gotta give me some answers.
How do I add something like the treetop sequence, not in the book, but it takes you on this journey. It gives you that feeling of ecstasy of like falling in love. So that was fun, like adding my own creative thing. I love those moments where a creative thought comes in that you don't know where it came from. It just zinged into your brain and you're like, yeah, that's cool. That would be great. Let's try that. Those kind of eureka moments are something that creative people live for. And then if you actually get to carry it through, you actually get to go and talk to a wonderful actor and they do it even better than you imagine. That's the fun part.
And cut. Great. Okay.
Catherine couldn't tell us about her upcoming project. It's still a secret, but we will find out and we will definitely share it with you. But right now, let's get back into some more Harry Potter action and find out about Lego Harry Potter years 5 through 7. Here's Sean.
A lot of people are huge fans of the LEGO series of games, LEGO Harry Potter being one of the hugest ones. We've got LEGO Harry Potter years 5 to 7 now. What are people getting into when they're getting into this game?
Well, LEGO Harry Potter years 5 to 7 is basically taking everything that was brilliant from years 1 to 4 and just taking it like to that next level. Bigger environments, more characters, more spells, more danger. We had a fantastic response to years 1 to 4. So, you know, we've just had a load of fun just making years 5 to 7.
I think the LEGO series of games is well known for having this huge cast of characters, just so many different characters you can unlock and then mess around with and then go back into the adventures. How many different combos are we getting over here?
The cast is amazing. You've got Professor Umbridge, you've got Professor Slughorn, Bellatrix Lestrange, Blazer-Beanie. You've got every character from years 5 to 7 crammed in there, obviously in LEGO form, and they've all got like unique animations, they're all quirky, they're all funny. We've broken the record for the most LEGO characters in a game.
What's it like going into into a series that has such a huge fan following, but then also combining that with a series like the Lego series of games that also has a huge fan following?
At TT, we like to make sure that every Lego game has its own identity, and we always like to make sure we're moving on. We want people to realise that every game is bigger and better and has new features and new content. So we're used to working with big brands, and we pride ourselves on doing it justice.
What do you hope the players take away from playing this game?
I want everyone just to take away fun. Obviously, J.K. Rowling wrote the fantastic fiction, and I just hope that everyone, when they've played the game, goes, that was a brilliant interpretation of the fiction. It was fun, I was laughing, there was moments that made me like a bit scared, a bit tearful, and whether they're playing single player or cooperative play, I just want people to have fun.
Lego Harry Potter Years 5 through 7 is out now. I'm looking forward to reviewing that one. And here's a look at what's coming soon to Electric Playground. On the next EP Daily, we check out the coolest new gadgets from Sony. The Muppets are back with a new big screen adventure.
Well, it's a lot like that.
And coming soon to EP, we delve into the creative minds of new media with our Storytelling 2.0 series. If you missed anything or want to watch it again, visit g4tv.ca, or to find out more about EP, go to our website at electplay.com. You can also follow us on Twitter under electplay, or catch up with us on Facebook under Electric Playground. Unfortunately, that is the end of the show, but I have a pretty fantastic parting gift. How about some Diablo 3? Enjoy that. We'll see you tomorrow.
Army shall pour forth from the shattered mountain, ravaging this world and all hope of resistance. My minions will find the stone, wherever you choose to hide it. Then, at long last, Osmodan shall reign as the prime evil.